I've never read this much in my entire life. Like this stack is bigger than my head. This is insane to me. Hi besties. So today is an exciting video for me because it is my July reading wrap up, and oh my god, I read so many books. Okay, let's compare last month. Last month I think I read total 5 or 6, I can't remember. I think it was 5. This month I read 10. So we were on crack. I don't know how I read 10 books, but I just did, and my mind is blown, and here we are. So I am going to be showing you guys all of the books I read this month. Today is actually the last day of July, so I waited till the very end to make this because there was a book that I finished on yesterday. There was a book I finished it on Sunday, started the new book yesterday, so I wanted to include that in this video as well. So let's start, because this has to be rapid fire because there are so many books to talk about. Disclaimer for all of my summaries, synopsises of these books. I'm working on it. I'm really trying my best, but I'm not great at summarizing things because I either think I say too much or too little, and I don't want to spoil anything. So bear with me, please. I'll get better, I promise. This is also my first fully, I would say sit down, but I'm not sitting, but sit down kind of chatty video. So I'm super excited to just talk about books. Not my whole channel is me talking about books, but I mean just talking one-on-one. Okay, I'm gonna speed it up. First book, Paradise Problems by Christina Lauren. I really like this. You guys probably saw it in my reading popular summer books. I really did like this. This is so cute. Again, these are in no particular order. I'm not going in chronological order because I honestly can't remember what chronological order I read these in. But so good. Crazy Rich Asian vibes. Like I said, love Crazy Rich Asians. The more I think about this one, the more I realize that my rating may have been a little too high, but that's okay because it was a fun experience nonetheless. And this is my first Christina Lauren book. My mom did tell me the first 100 pages are super slow, but once you surpass that 100-page mark it gets better, and she was right. But this story basically follows Anna, and she got married to some guy for cheaper student housing when she was in college. So basically a couple years later this guy comes back and he's like, hey, I need you to pretend to be my wife and come to this wedding with me in I want to say Singapore, but that is Crazy Rich Asians. I'm not sure where they went, but they went to a tropical island, and he's a billionaire and he has to convince his family that they've been married for the past 5 years, and there's just a lot of turmoil that comes with that and his family. So yeah, this one was really good. I'm probably gonna stick with my 4 out of 5 star rating, and the cover, can we just so pretty. So this was good. This was a good one. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. I feel like this is gonna be such a controversial opinion. The next one is Beach Read. I did like it. It was really good, but I did give it a 3.5 stars because I honestly just think it was overhyped for me. Everyone's like, this is the best book ever. I love this book. This is my favorite book. Da 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 da. It didn't live up to the hype for me. I kind of wish that it did. I really want to like it. I'm gonna reread it next year because I want to experience the hype. Okay, I want to be included, but it didn't live up to expectations. I still really did love this book. And again, I love Emily Henry. She she was one of the authors that boosted me back into reading. So she has a special little place in my heart. But this guy is basically about January and Gus, and they are 2 authors. They write completely different genres. I think Gus writes fiction. I don't know if it's thriller fiction or just fiction in general. And January writes romances. So they meet up in a beach town, and essentially they challenge each other to write in the opposite genre. So January has to write a thriller fiction novel, and Gus has to write a romance. So they go on little, I was gonna say side quests, but I guess little outings together to help do like research for their books and stuff. And I think it was very sweet, and I did really like it. Love the town. I love the small town aspects in all of the books I read by Emily Henry, but it didn't live up to the hype for me, and that's okay. That's fine. But I really, really want to love this. Like, I love all of her covers too. Like, they're just so pretty, and my tabs match. So this one was good. It was very good. Just didn't live up to the hype for me, which is okay. Gave this 3.5 stars out of 5. Song of the Abyss is by Micaiah Lussier, and I think I gave this one a 4 out of 5 as well. This is the second book in the Tower of Winds duology, and I loved it. I think that's the general consensus of most of the books I read this month, and that's probably why it was such a good reading month. But this basically follows Reyna, and she was on a ship with her crew, her friends. Then one night the crew is like brainwashed, or so they're non-responsive. She wakes up and realizes someone's taken over the ship. She jumps off, swims away to go get help, and essentially befriends a prince. So this book is all about her trying to find her friends from that ship and where they went and who took them. And it's a big adventure, and I love it so much. I love Micaiah Lussier's writing in general, and this kind of just like solidified it, you know. I didn't like this as much as Isle of Blood and Stone, but it was still such a great book for a duology. I don't have this book with me, but the next book is The Nantucket Hotel by Ellen Hildebrand, and again, I don't think this lived up to the hype for me. Oh my gosh, I wanted to DNF that book so bad. I think my thing is I feel bad for DNFing a book, and I don't know why. I think it's different when I'm reading an audiobook because I can just like forget about it and it's out of sight, out of mind. But if it's like a physical book, I'm like, grrr, and I was like, oh, I'll get halfway and then I'll see if I want to DNF it. And I was halfway and I still wanted to DNF it, but I'm like, oh, I'm already halfway anyways. So I ended up finishing it. It follows the staff of a hotel, and they're like 7 of them maybe, so 7 main characters-ish, and then a ghost who lives in the hotel. And basically this staff is like, the hotel's new, it's opening up, and they want like to make a really good impression, and they want like this really famous hotel reviewer to come and review their hotel. There's just a lot going on. I just think there are too many stories for me to retain in my brain. And I don't know if it was just because it was like adult fiction and I was reading like some books, I was reading like YA and I just wasn't ready for adult fiction. Like, I don't know, I feel like there are a bunch of factors that just made me not like the book. But that's all really I have to say about that. You probably saw the video of me reacting to it. There weren't many clips of me reading the book because I was just I was not invested or enthralled at all when I was reading. So there's that. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. And we're just gonna leave it at that, honestly. The Crown of Gilded Bones. Oh, do I have so much to say about this book. This is a book I finished a couple days ago. This is my last full book for the month of July. Oh, I have so many thoughts. Oh my gosh. First of all, why is it this long? I do actually know why it's so. Why is it 645 pages? I do know why. Because I think the series is not, I don't know the right word for it, but it's just not edited. Like, I don't know how many cuts she made, but she doesn't make like the normal amount of cuts that like every other author does. And to me it was very evident because it was so long and I was so bored and I skimmed over so much of this. This makes me mad. I was getting annoyed reading this book, which is not a great experience. And again, I got halfway through and I was like, I could DNF this right now, but I'm not going to. But I was reading this for a video, and basically I don't know if that's gonna go up. I think that video might go up after this, but essentially it's just series that I haven't finished yet. So I wanted to give From Blood and Ash another try because I remember starting it years ago and I really liked it. I only read the first 2 books though, and then I picked this one up and I was like, oh. I don't really know. I'm not going to tell you what this one's about because it is part of a series, so if you haven't read the first 2 books in the series, it probably won't make much sense and I don't want to spoil anything. But the plot twists in this I didn't see them coming. Good plot twists. But why did the plot twist come in the last 100 pages of the book? You tell me that. On page like 500 out of 645. Did I need to read 500 pages to get to that plot twist? No, we probably could have cut out like maybe 300 pages and I still would have been very satisfied. Like that is how, like, oh my god. Okay, maybe not 300, maybe 200 pages, but like still. You can see how like annoyed this made me. Like I just, moral of the story, I am selling this one and I'm selling the series. So someone is going to come up tomorrow and pick up this book and the second book, which I hope they enjoy it more than, I really hope they enjoy it more than I did. Continuing on, we have Wild Love by Elsie Silver, and oh, I love this book so much. This is my first Elsie Silver book. This makes me want to read the Chestnut Spring series so bad. Again, this was for my series video, so you'll probably see more of my thoughts in that. But I just loved it. I loved how it was based in Canada. I loved how, like, I could imagine everywhere that they were going, like the small town, Rose Hill. Rose Hill? Can you tell me that that is not a cute ass name for a town? Rose Hill. Oh my god, I loved it. I gave this one I think a 4 out of 5. I loved it so much. I don't know, I can understand the hype now with Elsie Silver, because everyone's like, read Chestnut Springs, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm trying, I want to. So I love it. One thing I will say though, once the spice started, it didn't end. I don't love spice in books, so it got me a little bit, but I didn't mind it as much as I thought I would, if that makes sense. Like The Crown of Gilded Bones and Paradise Problem, there's also spice in there, like a lot of spice, and I was like, I don't like it. It kind of like put me off for a little bit, especially The Crown of Gilded Bones. This one, I didn't mind it as much, and it didn't put me off. I just didn't love it, but it didn't put me off. So I think that also says something about how much I really like this book. So this one is basically about how do I even describe this? A billionaire, another billionaire, just like a rich family, and a girl named Rosie. So Ford is the billionaire, Rosie is the girl who just lost her job in BC, and she comes back to Alberta, Rose Hill, to be with her family after losing her job. And her and Ford are childhood besties, I guess. Ford is actually Rosie's brother's bestie, but by association, I guess they're besties. And like they have like when they're younger, he just like picks on her and she's annoying, kind of like big brother, big sister, or big brother, little sister, but like they're not related. He would just like tease her because he liked her, sort of that. There we go. So then they're both back in Rose Hill, and then Ford realizes Ford has a daughter. Ford's daughter comes and finds him, and he's like, oh shit. So it's basically about him learning how to be a father, Rosie kind of assimilating, acclimating, adjusting adjusting back to Rose Hill, and then also them just being in close proximity with each other again after a long time. I wouldn't necessarily say this is slow burn, because I don't think it is, but it is a very cute love story, and I really did like it a lot. Next was my first audiobook, which is The Newcomer. Again, this was for my Reading Popular Summer Books. I didn't really like this one either. I'm just gonna be say it. I don't know what I was expecting, but the cover is like super cute. But so I guess I was expecting like cutesy, but wasn't what I expected at all. And the story basically follows Letty, and her sister was murdered, so she takes her niece and leaves the state. I think she goes from New York to Florida, and then she befriends the family of like a beach motel, like they own the motel. She befriends them and starts working there, and essentially has to protect her niece from her niece's father, who they suspect is in super shady business, and like Letty is the main character, thinks that her niece's dad killed her sister. So it's kind of like a mystery thriller, but it wasn't fast paced. but it could also be because it was an audiobook. It was my first audiobook, so I was like getting used to audiobooks. I just don't know if I'm vibing with audiobooks. I think I need to find like good audiobooks. This one was kind of just like a meh. I think if I was reading it, like the physical book, I might have liked it more. But that's all I really have to say on that. That was also a 2.5 stars. But it did give me beachy vibes, like Florida. Love Florida. That's all. I think that's all I'll say on that. The next book is Funny Story by Emily Henry. And I think this was the standard that I held beach read to, because this was just so cute. And I know a lot of people said they didn't like this, but I really loved it. I thought it was just so fun. Oh my god, I get giddy when I talk about it. What the heck? But this is basically, this plot is also, I don't know why I have such a hard time describing plots. Maybe I just read like some, not complicated, oh my god. I read some complex books this month. And I know it has mixed reviews, and I know a lot of people say that like they're disappointed, or they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I loved it as much as I loved all of her other books. But I loved it a lot more than the other 2 books that I read from her. So let me attempt to explain this plot. This is about Daphne. Daphne was engaged to Peter. Petra is Peter's bestie from childhood. They're like childhood friends. Miles is Petra's boyfriend. So it's Petra and Miles and Peter and Daphne. Peter and Petra leave both of their significant others and get together. So now Daphne and Miles don't have anyone, and their exes are dating each other. So Daphne has to move into Miles's place, so now they're roommates, and essentially they both have to pick up the pieces of their life. Does that make sense? I hope so. It's just so cute though. These small town vibes, again, like in Beach Read, so good. Oh my gosh, I think I like the small town. I love the small town stories. I love the small town vibes. I love the small town beach vibes. I don't know. I want to live. Can you not tell that I want to live in a small town, please? Oh my god. But I don't know. There's something about this that like made my heart all warm and fuzzy, and I really liked it. There's nothing bad I can say about this. Like even the cover, like, oh my gosh. I did mention in what video was this for? Reading popular summer books, that I loved Miles because he reminded me of Nick Miller, but like a softer Nick Miller, not as like you know how Nick Miller, if you've watched New Girl, he's like blah, but like a funny blah. I don't think Miles is necessarily blah in your face. Not that Nick Miller's in your face, but like sometimes he is just a little bit. But it was just so good. Nothing bad to say about it, because why would I say anything bad about it? I definitely foresee myself rereading this next year, maybe even like in the fall. This would be a cute fall book too, I would think. But yeah, this is one of my 3 5 out of 5 star books this month. Wow, that's pretty good. 3 5 out of 5 star books. 3 5-star books this month. That's pretty good, if you ask me. It was like I was saving the best for last, because I was. The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber ripped my heart out of my chest. She stomped on it a little bit, and then she picked it up and like cradled it, and then she dropped it on the floor again. That's the best way I can describe reading this book. The last 100 to 150 pages, oh my god, I can't think about it. It was such an experience, and I know you probably think that I'm being dramatic, but if you've read this, you get it. Like, you get my physical body reaction to thinking about the ending of this book. Like, I have nothing bad to say about it. Oh my god. Like, it was so good. And I'm not gonna tell you what this one's about, because it's the second book in a series. It's the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, but I've come to realize that I've only read her other series, Caraval. I really did like that too. But her second books always hit the hardest for me. Like, the second books are always her favorite, or always my favorite in the series. So this kind of makes sense, but like, oh my gosh, when I tell you that like I still haven't fully processed this book, I reread the ending maybe 5 times because I needed to make sure that like I read it. I don't know, like probably look and sound ridiculous talking about this, but if you've read this, you understand. Like, you just know. And if you haven't read it, then I'm sorry that I look crazy, but it's just so like, look at all my tabs. Most of these tabs too aren't even like quotes, they're just the way that she described the world. Like the world, oh my gosh, it's a story about stories. It's like a fairy tale about fairy tales, and I love fairy tales. This vibe is just so good, and I loved it. It was my favorite, and this whole series, I want the UK covers. I don't need the UK covers because I have the other book, or the other books. One of them's a library book, the last one's a library book, but I have all the books right now in my room. But it's just so good. I need multiple copies, and reading a book and collecting books, 2 different hobbies in itself. But I could talk about this forever, so I'm gonna stop. 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. So this is the stack. I'm very proud of this stack, you guys. Like, you have no clue, like, but these are all of the physical books I read this month. Thanks for joining me and listening to me yap for I don't know how long about these, because I'm so proud of myself for reading this much this month. I honestly don't know if I'm going to read this much next month, but I'm so excited to see how much I read next month. Like, this is insane. This is insane to me. Seeing as how a couple months ago I couldn't even finish a book in like a week and a half. Are you kidding me? Are you like I was trying to like tap my feet, but I can't because this is a lot. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. This was really fun. I had a great time. I will see you guys in my next video, whenever that may be. So yeah, thanks for spending some time with me, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.